the fixed capital method, right? And apart from this, I think I have given you one question for the homework as well. Just wanted to confirm from you whether you are having any difficulty with the capital account formation. Is have you tried that question that I gave you as a homework?
Yes, sir.
Is everything okay with that? Do you have any
Yes, sir.
doubt or difficulty? Okay.
No, sir.
All right then. So in today's class, the point of discussion will be calculation of interest on capital. So this is the new topic that we'll be discussing. This is part of this chapter only, right? And yeah, so we'll through this topic we will try to understand how do we actually calculate interest on capital, and depending on different situations. So let's directly start with a question. Just a moment. Since you already have some idea about the interest on capital, right? That when partners contribute certain amount of capital in a firm, he is entitled to claim interest on that capital if the partnership deed uh, provide provide so. That means if partnership deed contains the term regarding the payment of interest on capital, then only partner will be entitled to claim the interest on capital, right? If the partnership deed is silent, or if there is no agreement regarding the interest on capital to be paid among the partners, then in that situation, partners won't be able to claim any interest on their capital contribution. So interest on capital will be claimed only if there is a partnership agreement, and that too will be paid as depending upon the in depending upon the rate at which the agreement have taken place. Okay, so since you already know the basics about the interest on capital, we'll directly start with a question. So question number 32. We'll first of all read this question and then we'll try solving it. This is an easy question, obviously, since it is the first question of this topic. So we'll start with a easy one. So it says Amit and Bramit started a business on 1st of April 2020 with a capital of rupees 15 lakh and 9 lakh respectively. On 1st of October 2020, they have decided their capital should be rupees 12 lakh each. So earlier they have contributed 15 and 9 lakh, but all of a sudden from 1st October onwards, they want to maintain their capital at 12 lakh. That means both are willing to maintain equal amount of capital from October onwards. Necessary adjustment in the capital were made by introducing or withdrawing by check. So if any partner is to bring any amount as a further capital, so he will be bringing that much capital by way of check. All right, or yeah, he will be introducing the additional capital by check. And if some partner have to withdraw, say in a situation where he have already invested more than 12 lakh, then in that situation, he will be able to withdraw such amount through the check only. Further question says that interest on capital is to be allowed at 8% per annum. Okay, so the rate of interest is given. Rate of interest is 8% per annum. We need to compute the interest on capital for the year ended 31st of March 2021. All right. So I hope the question is clear, right? Ritika, is this question clear for you?
Yes, sir.
So we'll start with the solution, and let me show you how do we actually calculate interest on capital in this case. I want you to note this down, and we are solving question number 32 here. See, situation is something like this. Let's suppose this is one financial year. Just a moment. Just a second. Give me a moment. I think my iPad got disconnected. Just a moment. All right. So solution to question number 32. So let's suppose this is one financial year. It will start from 1st of April and will be ending on 31st of March. So at the beginning of the year, their capital by both the partners were 15 lakh and 9 lakh, right? For Amit and Brahmit. But from the October onwards, they want to maintain a capital balance of 12 lakh each. So Amit and Brahmit both will be maintaining equal capital balance from the month of October onward. Okay. Now see, question says that if additional capital is required to be brought in by any partner, then such additional capital need to be brought in by check. And if any amount is to be withdrawn by any of the partner, then in that situation, the additional or the excess amount will be withdrawn through the check as well. So see, in this case, could you please tell me how much amount Amit will have to contribute? Whether Amit will be contributing or he will be withdrawing? Tell me. He already have invested 15 lakh. Partners have decided to maintain a capital balance of 12 lakh from October onwards. So since I think Amit have already invested excess amount, I think Amit will have to withdraw 3 lakh. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And Brahmit in this case will be investing 3 lakh.
3 lakhs.
Right? Okay. Now
Yes,
see,
sir.
whether they will be investing or withdrawing, it is not going to affect our solution. What we need to do, that is a different thing, that partners have to maintain an equal amount of balance from October onwards. But the thing is that we need to calculate interest on capital, right? So we will have to check how much capital they have invested in a business throughout the year. So if you notice, Amit and Brahmit both have invested 15 lakh and 9 lakh respectively for the first 6-month period. Starting from April till September, they have invested 15 and 9 lakh. So their interest on capital will be calculated on 15 lakh and 9 lakh for the first 6-month period. And for the remaining 6-month period, they have maintained a capital balance of 12 lakh. So for the remaining 6-month period, their interest on capital will be calculated on this amount, on 12 lakh, right? So what we'll do, we'll calculate interest on capital. First of all, let me calculate the interest on capital for Amit. Then I'll calculate the interest on capital for Brahmit. Interest on capital for Amit. See, for the first 6 months, we'll calculate interest on the 15 lakh at the rate of at 8% per annum, but for only how many months? For 6-month period. So that is 6 by 12. So we'll calculate interest on 15 lakh for the period of 6 months, and we'll have to calculate again interest for the remaining half year at the rate of 8%, but not on 15 lakh. This time we'll be calculating interest on 12 lakh, right? So when you will calculate interest on 15 lakh, it will be, okay, we'll do the calculation later, but just tell me if this is clear for you. we'll calculate 8% on 15 lakh first for 6 months. Then we'll calculate 8% for on 12 lakh for the remaining 6 month period. Why? Because Amit have maintained 15 lakh capital balance for the initial 6 month period, and for the remaining half of the year, we have maintained a capital balance of 12 lakhs. So in that case, capital interest on capital will be calculated on different capital. Is that clear for you, Ritika?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And similarly, we'll do the same thing for the Brahmit as well. So Brahmit, for the first half, for the first 6 months, we'll calculate 8% interest, on which amount we'll calculate it on 9 lakh, right? And for the remaining period, we'll calculate interest on 12 lakh into 6 by. Got it? Tell me if this is clear for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I want you to quickly note this down and tell me the final value that will be paid as an interest on capital for Amit, and the amount of interest on capital that will be paid to Pramit. Please note this down and tell me the values. And also let me know if you are having any difficulty understanding anything. Then Ritika, please confirm once you are done writing this.
Yes, sir. 1 minute. Done, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's move to the next question now. Moving to question number 33. So it says Ram and Mohan are partners in a business. Their capital at the end of the year were 24,000 and 18,000 respectively. During the year 2015-16, Ram's drawing and Mohan's drawing were 4,000 and 6,000 respectively. Profit before charging interest on capital during the year was 16,000. Calculate interest on capital at 5% per annum for the year ended 31st of March 2016. Okay. Now, how different this question is from the previous one? See, first of all, in this question, you are provided with the closing capital of both the partners, Ram and Mohan. If you read the second line carefully, you will see that the balances of the capital given in the question is not the opening capital balance. These are the closing capital balances, and we don't calculate interest on capital on closing capital balance. We have to calculate interest on capital on the opening capital, right? So in this case, it says their capital at the end of the year were 24 and 18,000. Now, what do we have to do? First of all, we'll have to figure out their opening capital at the beginning of the year. We'll have to find out the capital of both the partners at the beginning of the year. And for that purpose, we will be using the amount of drawing that is given in the question, and further the amount of profit is also given. So we will have to somehow use these information and try to figure out their opening capital balances, because only then you'll be able to find out their interest on capital, right? Now, to figure out the opening capital balance, we have a specific formula for that. What do? We basically see whenever closing capital is given, you don't have to write this down, just try to understand. Let's suppose closing capital balance is given, but we cannot simply calculate interest on capital on the closing balance, right? We have to somehow find out the opening capital balance of the partner. So the capital balance, which is closing capital, is the capital balance at the end of the year. We have to reach the opening capital at the beginning of the year. Now you have to think like that. That how do we actually figure out the closing capital? How do we reach closing capital? In order to reach closing capital, we must have subtracted the amount of drawing made by the partner. Partners must have withdrawn some amount throughout the year, right? Over a period of time, it is a possibility that partners must have withdrawn certain amount. So in order to find out the opening capital, what do? We simply add the amount of drawings made by the partner. Why? Because to find out the opening capital, we will have to add drawing. Unless and until you add drawing, you won't be able to figure out what amount of capital was there in the business at the beginning of the year. Because drawing must have been made out of the opening capital balance, right? So to figure out the opening capital balance, we will now add the amount of drawing in the closing capital, number one. Number two, we will now subtract the amount of profit. Profit need to be subtracted. Why? Because the closing capital that we have calculated at the end of the year must have been adjusted with the amount of profit as well. Profit must have been added to the capital to figure out the capital balance at the end of the year. Now to find out the opening capital, what we'll do, we'll simply subtract the amount of profit at the amount of profit that have been earned by the firm during the year. So basically, two things we need to do. Amount of drawing will be added and amount of profit will be subtracted to figure out the opening capital. I hope you understand the concept. Even if you don't understand the concept, just remember, in order to find out the opening capital, there is a simple formula. In the amount of closing capital, we'll be adding drawings and we have to subtract profit. That will give us the opening capital balance. I hope this point is clear for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now keeping this in mind, we'll solve this question. Now, in this question, we have how many partners? We have two partners, Ram and Mohan. We have to first of all figure out their opening capital on which we will be calculating interest. So first of all, tell me their closing capital balances. Their closing capital is given in the question 24,000 and 18,000. And in that, we will add the amount of drawing made by both the partners. The drawing made by both the partners were 4,000 and 6,000 throughout the year, right? So 4,000 and 6,000 will be added back. And profit of the firm is 16,000, which must have been distributed among the partners in the equal proportion. Since the ratio of profit sharing is not given in the question, profit sharing ratio is missing in the question. So if profit sharing ratio is not there in the question, we'll simply presume that it is equal, right? So if firm have managed to earn 16,000 as the profit, then we'll simply presume that this profit must have been distributed among the partners in the equal proportion. And the amount of capital that you are looking at, which is given in the question, 24,000 and 18,000, it must have been adjusted with the profit. I mean, the profit has already been added, and their capital must have basically their capital include the amount of profit. So we'll subtract the amount of profit. I'm presuming that profit must have been distributed equally. So 16,000, if distributed equally, that means both the partners must have got 8,000 and 8,000. We'll have to subtract this. Now tell me, the opening capital balance will be, so out of 24,000, we'll add 4,000 and subtract 8,000, we'll get 20,000. And for Mohan, we'll add 6,000 and subtract 8,000, that will give us 16,000. Right? Please confirm if this is clear. Sorry.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
sir.
Yeah. So out of 24,000, we'll add 4,000 and subtract 8,000. And on the other hand, out of 18,000, we'll subtract 8,000 and add 6,000. So their opening capital balances for both the partners will be 20 and 16,000. I hope this point is clear, Kritika.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, since we got the opening capital, we can calculate the interest on capital for both the partners. So interest on capital. First of all, for Ram, it will be upon 20,000. We'll calculate interest on capital at the rate of 5% per annum, which is given in the question. Into, for the entire year, we'll be calculating interest on capital, because yeah, so they must have maintained this balance over a period throughout the year. So that means it will be 1,000. And for Mohan, 16,000 into 5%. So it will be 800. Is that clear, Ritika?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is it. This is the solution of this question. I want you to note this down quickly.
Sir, I wrote
Yes.
it down parallel.
Okay. All right. Very good. So now we can, I think, move to the next question, right, Ritika?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. So I want you to try the next question on your own. Question number 34. Just read the, okay, let me read the entire question for you. And then I want you to try this first, and then I'll help you if you face any difficulty. It says from the following balance sheet, long and short, from the balance sheet of long and short, calculate interest on capital at the rate of 8% per annum for the year ended 31st of March 2021. So balance sheet for this for both the partners are given. There are two partners. It is a partnership firm. long and short. For that partnership form, we have been provided with a balance sheet. And in that balance sheet, you can see on the liability side, the capital balances of both the partners are given. For long, it is 1,20,000. For short, it is 140. And then there is some information regarding the general reserve as well, 1 lakh. On the other hand, we have fixed asset and other assets, 3,60,000. Further question says that during the year, the long withdrew 40,000 and short have withdrawn 50,000. So both the drawings of both the partners is given. Profit for the year was 1,50,000, out of which rupees 1 lakh was transferred to general reserve. So the 1 lakh that you are able to see in the balance sheet on the liability side by the name of general reserve, that is created out of profit. So out of 1,50,000, we have already what should I say? We have already allocated some amount towards the reserve. We have already created some reserve. All right, and that means the remaining profit only can be distributed among the partners. If the profit earned by the firm was 1,50,000, out of which 1 lakh has been transferred to general reserve, tell me how much amount must have been distributed among the partners?
50,000.
Correct, 50,000 only. So that means long and short both have shared the 50,000 of profit in the equal proportion. Why? Because the profit sharing ratio is again missing in the question. We will simply presume that out of 1,50,000 profit, 1 lakh has been transferred to general reserve and remaining must have been distributed among the partners, long and short in the equal proportion. All right. So I think we have sufficient enough information in the question based on which we'll be able to calculate interest and capital. So do you want to try, Ritika? Do you think you'll be able to do
Yes.
this? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Please give it a try. I'm giving you 5-7 minutes. Please try solving it. Let me know the answer.
So for the calculation of opening capital in the profit, should we take only 50,000 then?
Yeah, profit should be taken as 50,000 only.
Okay, sir. Done, sir.
Done. Okay. So, Ritika, could you please tell me the interest on capital for both the partners?
So interest on capital for long is 10,800 and for short is 13,200.
Good job. Well done. Okay. Now, let's move to the next question. Next, we'll try question number 35. This time we have two partners in this case as well, Neelkant and Mahadev. Neelkant's current account information, their capital balances from the capital and current account both is given. And on the asset side, you can see we have sundry asset, which is not relevant for calculation of interest and capital. P&L appropriation profit is given 8 lakh. During the year, Mahadev's drawing were 30,000, profit during the year were 10 lakh. Calculate interest on capital at the rate of 5% for the year ending 31st of March. So in this case as well, we need to calculate. We need to calculate the interest on capital. But see, interest on capital is to be allowed only on the capital balance. Do you understand that? Capital, I mean, the not on the current account balance. We'll calculate the interest on capital on the capital account. So we have to calculate capital on the balance of 10 lakh. Do you understand that? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And since it is, there are two capital given in the question. That means this partnership firm is maintaining the capital account by the fixed capital method approach, right? Fixed capital, there must have been, they must have applied the fixed capital method. Why? Because we are able to see two different capital balances. One is for Neelkant's capital account balance and the current account balance as well. And do you also understand that when firm is maintaining the following the fixed capital method approach, the capital balance of the partners remains same. Opening and closing is not affected unless and until drawings are made out of capital. Right? Do you understand that? If drawings are made out of capital, then only the capital balance of the partners will get affected. Why? Because all the what should I say? All the transaction like interest on salary, drawing, everything is recorded in the current account. If firm is following the fixed capital method approach, all the transaction is recorded in the current account. So that means opening capital and closing capital of this firm will remain same throughout the year. You understand that? Ritika, is that clear for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what do we need to do? We'll simply calculate interest at the rate of 5% per annum on the capital balance which is given in the question. We don't have to do anything else. Why? Because the closing capital which is given in the question, as you can see, the balance sheet is the closing balance sheet, right? So the capital balance given in the question is also the closing. This is also the closing capital balance. But as I'm telling you, since this firm must have been maintaining their account by the fixed capital method approach. So that means the capital balance will remain same. Opening balance must have also same, and closing balance will be same. So we'll simply calculate interest on capital at the given balance at 10 lakh only. Why? Because opening and closing capital balance for this firm will remain same. It is not affected by the drawing or the profit. Only the current account balance will get affected, and we don't calculate the interest on capital on current account balance. We just calculate interest on capital on the capital balance. I hope this point is clear.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is simple.
So here the drawings are made out of profit.
Here we'll simply presume that drawings are being made out of profit. Why we are presuming this? Because question is silent about the drawing, source of drawing. And I have already explained that if question is not giving any specific information regarding the source of drawing, then we'll simply presume that drawing is being made out of profit. And if it is being made out of profit, then it is a current account component, not the capital account component.
Okay,
Got
sir.
it? Is that clear, Ritika? Okay. So we will simply calculate interest on 10 lakh at the rate of 5%. And that in that case, Neelkan's capital will be 50,000, and for Mahadev's it will be 50,000 again. So that it is an easy question. Just the tricky one. Only thing is that you have to understand if both the capital balances are given, capital and current account balances, then we will simply calculate interest on capital balance, not the current account. Moving to the next question number. Okay, so we don't have any question based on the interest on capital. I'll do one thing. I'll try to share few assignment based on the interest on capital. Through that, you will be able to practice few more questions based on the interest on capital. Now we have a next topic, which is guarantee of profit. And we have some time left in the session, but I don't want to start this topic today, Ritika, because Vanisha is not here and I don't want her to miss this important topic. Guarantee of profit is an important topic, and this is the starting point of this topic. So I don't want her to miss the introductory part, because otherwise that topic will be little problematic for her. So let's just end our session at this point only. I'll try to share a few assignment question based on the interest on capital, and I want you to practice the calculation of interest on capital through those assignment questions. All right, is that okay for you, Ritika?
Yes, sir.